One of Hollywood's infamously incompetent directors who everyone thought was on the ash heap of history is apparently now making a comeback at this moment in time, according to this article from The World of Real, saying that J.J. Abrams is currently in the production stage of The Great Beyond, that this film is on its way back. Now, I did not realize J.J. Abrams was even making a film. I thought he was just gone and out there. According to the article, J.J. Abrams' comeback vehicle started production back in May of 2025 in London. Now, two things on that. Either I've not really paid attention enough to the entertainment scene to know that JJ was making a film, which is possible, or the media has just kind of abandoned JJ and don't really want to report him. I find that unlikely, but it is kind of strange that we haven't really heard too much of what J.J. Abrams was been making on. After all, he did create Star Wars The Force Awakens, which was massively successful financially. Story-wise, not so much. And then we have The Rise of Skywalker, which also did pretty good financially as well. So it's interesting to see that no one has really paid attention to JJ all that much on this production, at least not to the extent that you would think that previous Hollywood royalty had. And key word there is previous, because that's probably the reason why we haven't heard too much about J.J. Abrams. Now, apparently, this film is being done with Warner Bros., which could potentially be done out this year. Now, with that said, it's interesting that it was done with Warner Bros., because it kind of falls in line with the sale of Netflix or Skydance. Exactly how this is going to end up, we don't really know right now, but it would make sense if they want to sell it off for this film. Now, why am I saying that? Well, it's because of this line right here. He's currently deep in post-production on his VFX heavy project but might potentially be released this year. When you tell me you have a heavy VFX project, that is telling me that Hollywood spent either $200 to $300 million on this film to get done. Don't believe me? Just look at current Hollywood. You can't have a film made today that's below $1 million in the Hollywood system. But Carl, this took place in London. Still the same thing. It's entertainment. Yes, you can call it Hollywood and it just goes worldwide, but in the West, it's really rare to see one of these blockbuster films go for something that's not 200 300 million, especially if you're going to be VFX heavy project like this that they're wanting to do. Now, with that, I kind of want to get into the people that are going to be part of this film, because I'm actually kind of excited for that, because we have Glenn Powell, Jenna Ortega, Emma McKay, and Samuel L. Jackson. Now, Jenna Ortega from Wednesday, absolutely loved her acting. She was fantastic in that. I'm not necessarily a big fan of everything she's doing with her face these days. It's too much, girl. You should wait if you're going to do it. Like, do it way later, like in your 60s and 70s. You can do it then. Do your plastic surgery then. But now, at this age, I'm not a big fan of it. Samuel L. Jackson, fantastic actor. Love him, everything. Mace Windu will always have my heart. I'm just a little concerned because some of his more recent performances haven't been great. But otherwise, I'm still a big fan of Samuel L. Jackson. I think he will knock it out of the park with this one as well. At least I hope. Glenn Powell and Emma McKay, not necessarily the biggest fans of theirs. Not because of anything wrong they've done. I just really haven't seen a whole lot of films they've been in. So I don't really have anything positive, negative to say on their performances at this time. But I think that this film will do pretty well at this point. At least with the actors, from my point of view. Now, we don't know too much about the plot except for that it's going to be a throwback to the 80s, The Last Starfighter, according to this article here. So we'll see exactly how well that plays up, because The Last Starfighter is a pretty decent film. With that said, we get at least a hint that the story may be around an author of a popular fantasy novel who reveals that the mythical world he's known for creating is actually real, sending the lead character on a quest, which makes the running production Ghost Rider title makes more sense, I guess, in this situation. Is this going to be a self-insert for J.J. Abrams? Maybe, but we don't really know J.J. Abrams to be the self-insert type of guy. We know him to be the mystery box that has no real answers to it type of director. So we'll see how exactly that all gets played out. Now, with that, I do want to go over this particular article because I think it's important to talk about. Suffice it to say, Abrams is coming back to directing. He hasn't helmed a film in 7 years. He also had a few TV projects get canned and has mostly been producing, if even that. Recently, the UK's Telegraph claimed he was in director's jail. He's about to get bailed out on his high budget fantasy, which could very well make or break his directing career, which is, in my opinion, a massive mistake. He should not be coming out with a massive budget that's going to completely destroy his career. He should have came out with something smaller, something like, oh, hey, that's a really great film. Who's the director? Oh, it's J.J. Abrams? Okay, he's back. I might have liked Star Wars Awaken and The Return of the Jedi. So yeah, let's give him a chance. I'm not saying that's me or really a lot of people out there, but there are some people who did love those films. So you should start with something smaller that had less pressure on you, because if this fails, I want to wish you good luck, JJ. Now, we should say that JJ has had some successes in his repertoire. He had Felicity, Alias, and Lost. Now, I'll have to mention, all those are like 20 years old now. He then graduated into film directing, Mission Impossible 3. Personally, loved that. Star Trek, I liked the film, but I heard that a lot of Trekkie fans were not a big fan of it. And Super 8, which was good, but I was able to point out a lot of the jump scares, and that's kind of a bad thing if I, as a 12-year-old, can point out, like, oh, that's a jump scare, that's not that entertaining. I can remember clear as day about that film. Now, with that said, he was previously going to be considered Hollywood royalty, the next Spielberg. Now, things haven't worked out that way, and he's now looking to make a comeback, according to this article. Now, there's a lot of truth in that. From what I was heard is that he was like a babysitter for Spielberg's kids. That's how him and Spielberg got to know each other, and so he was able to use that name to rise up the ranks. Otherwise, he really hasn't shown himself to be all that great. The mystery box is fine, but you have to have an answer inside that actually makes it worth getting into. Lost is the prime example. I watched the first 3 seasons of Lost, then I kind of got bored of it and stopped watching when it was first coming out, and I'm very glad I did, because the ending of it was just atrocious. It just wasn't great. It kind of led in the way of how things were going with Game of Thrones and now Stranger Things. Not really mystery box endings, I guess I should say. Those shows more so had the disappointing endings, and Lost is just the beginning of that, in my opinion. Now, with that said, we should also probably note here that J.J. Abrams has another film in the works, but I don't personally think that one's going to go anywhere really great either. It's going to be starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and a film that's going to be taking some inspiration from The Last Action Hero. So, we'll see how exactly that all plays out. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is not a movie star. He's like maybe a A to B list movie personality that no one really goes to watch his films for him. They go watch it for the story that he's in. So we'll see exactly how that all plays out. If you keep it a small budget, if you keep it around like maybe 80 million to produce, and then keep it the marketing low, you can probably make your money back. But with the massive failures that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has been in, I wish you good luck on that one, J.J. Abrams. You can go on and yeah. Now, with that said, I do hope that this film is good. We need some good modern entertainment, and the fact that this isn't a remake or a reboot, but something original, okay, I can appreciate that. Will it be good, though? That's the other thing we need to find out, and I really hope it does. With that said, though, I want to hear what you guys' thoughts are down below. Are you excited to see J.J. Abrams back in the directing chair? Do you think he's going to be fantastic? Do you think that, the dislike for J.J. Abrams is overblown? Or do you think it's going to fall flat on its face and Warner Bros. Is going to have another bomb on their hands? I can't wait to hear from you guys down below. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all later. Y'all take care now. Bye.